What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for a Rampage review, and SmackDown is also here, and some predictions for what is going to be one of the most disappointing pay-per-views probably in the year 2021, as Extreme Rules is tomorrow night, because it is Saturday morning. It is Saturday. It is going to be noon. You guys are going to be seeing this, which we had 4 hours of shows last night. 2 hours of utter gutter trash outside of the last maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the show. And then 2 hours of a taped Rampage. Now, I know I've seen other people say that, look at this and everything. It's like, the sooner Rampage becomes live every week, the better. Because this show, it just, you can tell from this show that the liveliness that you get from a live television taping, a live show, just compare the way the crowd sounded and everything from Wednesday to Friday, and tell me that Wednesday wasn't long. It didn't sound more livelier on Wednesday. Last night's show was a good show. It was a very much more star-studded show. There were more matches that actually people probably cared about. Because quite honestly, if you go back to Wednesday was a one-match show. It was the opener. Nothing could follow it. And the show, in my opinion, was hurt because of it. I'm not saying it was a bad show. But it just felt like the show had a drop-off after that first match. Last night, I will have to say this. And the reason I'm doing this review today is because 12 o'clock, I was fucking out of it. I missed half the show. I missed the first hour and 15 minutes of Rampage because I fell asleep doing SmackDown. Plain and simple. SmackDown was that fucking boring that I even had to go back and watch the Montez Ford Roman Reigns match just because I got it. SmackDown was that fucking boring. And I knew I had to try and be up for something for Rampage. I didn't expect to sleep all the way through the first hour, missing CM Punk with the Hobbs and the Super Kliq versus Jungle Boy, the Jurassic Express, and Christian Cage. But you could just tell things. Imagine if this show would have been live. Now I can understand taping this, doing a big show from Arthur Ashe Stadium, and I'm hoping, because Tony Khan wants to do this every year. He wants to have a Grand Slam every single year. Don't do it. We don't need 2 nights of Grand Slam every year. We don't need a Wednesday and then a Friday for Grand Slam. Do it on Wednesday. And in my opinion, because they're taping from Universal Studios, I would rather have Universal Studios tape one episode of Rampage that would air the week of Grand Slam, just so we don't have to have it just feel like this. It just felt like something was missing. It's like something was what you had on Wednesday, you didn't have last night. It just didn't feel as strong when it came to the quality of the show. Tape shows, I hate tape shows as much. I mean, yeah, I watch Dark and Dark Elevation every single week, but those I tape it to knowing they are going to be taped. I know they're taped. They're always going to be taped. So I don't have as big of a problem watching them, knowing what I'm getting with it just being a tape show. This, we've had live twice. We're going to have live again in the middle of October, when Wednesday night gets preempted for Saturday because WWE decided, not WWE, AEW has decided, instead of just jumping over to TBS for a night, because they're going to TBS next year anyway on January 5th. That's when TBS gets Monday Night Raw, and only Monday. They get the Wednesday night show. Rampage is actually staying on TNT. So the TNT Championship, we were all wondering, well, they're going to TBS. Why don't we change the TNT Championship to the TBS Championship? Well, they're still going to be on TNT on Wednesday nights, Friday nights. Wednesday is going to be TBS. Apparently, the women's division is going to have the TBS championship, so there is that. But yeah, last night's show was a lot of fun. 2 hours. You got CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. You got the Super Kliq versus Christian Cage Jurassic Express. You had the Man of the Year Ethan Page Scorpio Sky versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. A match I don't think anyone really should have cared about, because I don't give a shit about the Man of the Year or any of this stuff with the UFC and Dan Lambert. We'll get to that when we get to that match. Then you had Santana Ortiz and the Lucha Bros versus Hardy Family Office, which, to be honest, the only reason this match even happened is because Santana and Ortiz are from New York, and Tony Khan wanted to get them on one of these two cards. And if they weren't challenging the Lucha Bros for the tag team titles, then this was the second best thing you could do. But we'll talk about that a little bit too when we get to that. And of course, you had a match that didn't even need to be on this card. Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. I like me some Anna Jay. I think she's got a big future in this company. She is one of the first few homegrown talents coming from the Nightmare Factory herself, only having 7 matches, I believe it was, or a few matches before she even signed last year, and now here she is in a very prominent role, being pretty much the head of the Dark Order, without being head of the Dark Order. But yeah, this match should have been on Dark. When they were taping Dark matches, this match should have been taped for Dark, plain and simple. And then, of course, your main event of the evening, which was Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki in a lights out match, which Tony Khan put out on social media. If it would have went long, they had permission for an overrun. But the AEW knowing that in hindsight does make me wonder why they didn't go over. I mean, it's a taped show, and of course they can edit out things that they need to go for time. That's the one benefit of a tape show, is that they'll always hit their times, because they can edit matches and make them, especially when you go to commercial break, you can cut out what you need so you can have a 2-hour show. But if you had, that makes me wonder too about this match, because it is a lights out match. Did they cut anything out so they could make for time going, so they didn't miss the midnight top start point? But if you had a permission from TNT and Warner Media, maybe they didn't get that permission for an overrun until after the tape was sent in for them to air on Friday night. So maybe that's a question that needs to be asked too. Now, let's talk about this show. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, if you watched All Out, you saw CM Punk come back in his first match in 7.5 years. But his look was different, because he was wearing long pants. He was not wearing his usual attire that he wore in WWE. And that was his choice. I'm fine with that. But he put it out on social media. Choose your own adventure, or whatever they called it. And he put out, what would you want to see CM Punk dressed in for this match against Powerhouse Hobbs? Long tights, long pants, or tights? And I actually voted on that, and you could tell that it was at I think 85% tights and 15% long pants. So yes, the short tights, yeah, they won out no problem. From jump, Punk just goes after Powerhouse Hobbs. He's going for his legs, trying to cut the man down. Commentary was a 3-man booth for the first time fully in since Rampage started, and it actually felt nice. Of course, it was your Dark. Well, on AEW Dark, it's Excalibur and Taz, sometimes joined by Ricky Starks. Well, that's the team we had last night, was Ricky Starks and Excalibur and Taz, and they flowed well together. Honestly, I still wish that all shows for AEW's shows with 2-man booths. I guess you can keep 3-man for Wednesday, so you have JR, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur out there, but you don't need all 3. I still prefer a 2-man booth. That's the sweet spot for a commentary booth. 3, everyone's just starts talking over each other, and then of course 4, which they had for the first few weeks of Rampage. It was you could nobody could get a word in edgewise other than Excalibur and whoever else. Now, of course, Hook was at ringside, and Punk hits a move on Powerhouse Hobbs and then looks over at Hook and just flips him the bird. So there's that. Hobbs is dealing more damage to Punk's head and neck while on the outside. This is doing picture-in-picture. Back in the picture-in-picture, Hobbs applies a bear hug. Punk escapes the elbows. Hobbs transitions his grip, but Punk hits a few back elbows to escape, and Punk and Hobbs start trading strikes. Punk fires back, and the elbow starts rocking Hobbs. Punk with a leg lariat, followed by a long swinging neck breaker. Now, Hobbs is fading on one knee in a sleeper hold, but he hits a back suplex to escape. Hobbs with a stampede slam on a 2. Hobbs can't believe it as he gets in the corner. Punk cuts him off, meets him up top, goes to the Rana. Hobbs blocks it. Punk manages to get a Rana off, and that was scary as shit. Holy fuck, what happened there? I don't know if he should have did a Hurricane Rana off the top ropes with Powerhouse Hobbs of all people. But yeah, that didn't look good at all. Punk looking to transition into an armbar, and he's transitioned into a triangle choke. Hobbs picks up Punk to powerbomb him, cover 2. Hobbs and Punk now going to strike for strike. Hobbs with a series of consecutive strikes and a round kick. Hook gets on the apron. Hobbs goes to do something, I think, shove Punk into him or attack him. Punk moves out of the way. He hits Hook. Punk sets up Hobbs into the GTS, hits it 1, 2, 3, and CM Punk is your winner. Good showing from both CM Punk and Powerhouse Hobbs. See, here's the thing. If this is another thing when it comes to CM Punk, if his status as being a legend, being somebody coming back after 7.5 years, him wrestling guys like Darby Allin, people could be like, oh, well, having Punk beating these guys is burying them. No, it's not. This isn't WWE. This isn't where, Goldberg comes in, gets a WWE Championship match against Kevin Owens, beats him in 5 seconds, and wins the championship. That's burying somebody. This Powerhouse Hobbs was leading CM Punk and beating this guy up for 90% of this match. He got so much into this match, that it looked like many times Powerhouse Hobbs could win. But if you watch the match closely, Hobbs lost mostly because CM Punk was the better man, because him and Team Taz made one mistake. Hook got up there on the apron. Powerhouse Hobbs was knocked into Hook, dazing him, allowing CM Punk to capitalize, and CM Punk picks up the win. Ricky Starks said it best on commentary. CM Punk did not win. He only survived Powerhouse Hobbs. Absolutely true. Because if it wasn't for the Hook distraction and the Hook mess up, Powerhouse Hobbs could have won this match in the end, but he didn't. We get a promo we get a talking segment where video package with Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, and Nyla Rose. It looks like we're going to be heading towards a triple threat match in the coming weeks or so, because they did not announce it for Wednesday night. We're going to talk about that card later on as well, because Wednesday night is going to be another good show. The Super Kliq, Christian Cage and Jurassic Express Jurassic Express and Christian Cage versus the Super Kliq, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Of course, the Super Kliq are rocking new t-shirts that says Super Kliq with a skull and 2 sides kissing, like the pose that Adam Cole and the Young Bucks do, which they love to do. Now, this was another really good match. This was probably, I think, one of the best matches of the night. Look, minus the crazy match at the end, which of course is a thing all of its own, because it's technically after the show ends, is what they bill it as. It's a lights out match. It's after the show ends, and they're not responsible for anything. So this, like, CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs was a good match. This was another good match, and I think this match was better than Hobbs and Punk, in my opinion. And nothing on this show after this, outside of that main event, I think is any better. So, Adam Cole and Jungle Boy is the feud they're going with right now. That match actually is going to be happening on Wednesday night, so that is going to be an awesome match as well. So, early on, Adam Cole wants nothing to do with Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy gets in, he's out of there. Cole thinks the better joining in, and Matt takes advantage by signing him. The Young Bucks working together on tags back and forth. Jungle Boy cuts off the tag combo and works his way into the double arm drag, which was fucking beautiful. Jungle Boy chases Cole around the ring and eats a double super kick. As I said, Cole's trying to avoid Jungle Boy at the majority of the match, because he'll decide when he fucks up Jungle Boy and when he beats up Jungle Boy. Everyone starts fighting on the outside as Luchasaurus tries to fight off the Super Kliq, but the numbers are too much. Super Kliq working on Jungle Boy as the Bucks kiss Cole's cheeks and hit a double drop kick as he had him in a camel clutch. Back from break, and the Super Kliq will continue, which they had picture-in-picture for that first match, no picture-in-picture for this match, just saying. Jungle Boy escapes the corner to send the Bucks crashing and tags on Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus cleans house and goes back and forth and strikes, but the Bucks deliver back body drops and clotheslines. Luchasaurus going for a double choke slam, but Cole comes out in for the save. Luchasaurus avoids kicks and delivers the tail whip to the Bucks as Adam Cole continues to duck both. He tried to hit all three, Cole and one Buck duck. Then Cole ducks the second one. Both Bucks get hit. He ducks the third one, and Cole and Luchasaurus goes for a choke slam. He then choke slams him onto Matt. This was interesting because he had Adam Cole goozled, and then he had Matt goozled, but he had him bent back, and he's about ready to drop him with the Scorpion Death Drop. So he picks Cole up and choke slams him on to fucking Matt Jackson. I have never seen that done before. That was fucking amazing. Luchasaurus is just awesome. So, we get towards the end of the match. Gallows distracts Jungle Boy, breaking the hold, which Anderson was not here tonight, which I found that very interesting. Matt hits a super kick, and Jungle Boy responds with a clothesline. Luchasaurus and Cole tag in. They brawl. Everyone brawls in the ring. Cole and Luchasaurus hit dual pump kicks. Cage and the Bucks sent outside as Jungle Boy and Cage deal with the Bucks. Jungle Boy and Cage deal with the Bucks. Matt hits a low blow on Cage because the referee doesn't see it as he's dealing with the guys in the ring. Cage eats a low blow. They send him off, face first off the ramp. Bucks send Jungle Boy flying off as well, so it's pretty much Luchasaurus versus all three of the Super Kliq. Luchasaurus rises up. As he's down, he does this Undertaker sit-up. Cole escapes a chokeslam, hits a low kick followed by a Shining Wizard, hits the Panama Sunrise. Bucks hit the BTE trigger. Cole hits the boom, which is what we knew as the last shot into Shining Wizard in NXT, so it's now the boom. Fine. 1, 2, 3, and the Super Kliq are your winners. Now, a lot of people I saw were not happy with the fact that the Super Kliq won this match. Why? Adam Cole just got here. Luchasaurus is the guy who takes the pinfall. There was no one else in this match who should have took a pinfall. Jungle Boy is one of the hottest talents in this company. He is the future of this company. And somebody, when they eventually do end the whole Jurassic Express thing, because it's going to happen eventually, Jungle Boy eventually is going to be on his own. And he should be on his own eventually. But Christian Cage is the the Impact World Champion. Jungle Boy is one of the fastest rising stars in AEW. The Young Bucks and Adam Cole, this is the debut match in AEW. The first time these two had teamed together since Adam Cole was super kicked to oblivion back before he joined NXT. So, it was a damn good match, and it was, and the right outcome happened, and it took not one, not two, but three. He took a Panama Sunrise, a BTE trigger, and the Boom Shining Wizard from these guys to beat Luchasaurus. So I don't see any problems with this match the way it went at all. Sneak peek for Road to the Top. Who really fucking cares? I'll be doing my review on that match when that show's going on Wednesday night. Men of the Year, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page with Dan Lambert versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. I would really tell you I did not give two shits about this match. This match just meh. Now, the Men of the Year win. Lambert distracts Hager. Sky rolls him up for a 2 count. Hager with a sidewalk slam. Covered, but Page breaks it up. Jericho sends Page to the outside with a plancha. Hager catches Sky, high cross and slam. Sky holds Lambert holds on the Hager's feet as Sky rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. They win. Then you had this shit after the match. Jericho and Hager drag Lambert into the ring, but American Top Team comes walking around from all over the place. You had all these MMA talents come in and they just beat the shit out of these two. Paige Van Zant, Jorge Masvidal, Junior Dos Santos, all of them. Here's my thing. True MMA fans do not care about professional wrestling. True MMA fans don't appreciate professional wrestling. They see professional wrestling as a joke. So please tell me, Tony, why in the hell, if you want mainstream media coverage, you got it with All Out. You're going to probably get it for the fact that you had Rampage and your flagship show in Arthur Ashe Stadium for the first time ever. You don't need Lambert. You don't need the American Top Team goons. Why are you rehashing the storyline and shit that Impact Wrestling did before Bobby Lashley went back to WWE? The only difference is they had Bobby Lashley, a member, if I'm correct, of American Top Team. Somebody who actually was in the MMA world, who fought bouts in Bellator. Somebody who was the actual representative. They didn't have to go out there and recruit two goons who nobody gives a shit about with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page to be their AEW stand-ins. I don't care if like a Jorge Masvidal or Paige Van Zant or Junior Dos Santos retire from MMA and start working with AEW and this is their way in. I do not care. We do not care about MMA. MMA fans do not care about professional wrestling. There is no reason for this shit to be happening. Of course, Hager is going to be the one to take the pinfall. You're not going to have Jericho take a pinfall unless it actually matters. And there's that. Just, you remember when we were in Cincinnati and you had MJF saying, mid for everything. That's how this feels. And the sooner it's done it over with, the better. I want to see my pro wrestling. I don't want to see MMA people in the professional wrestling ring. Unless you're coming to become a professional wrestler, stay the fuck out, go back to your octagon, and leave us the fuck alone. Santana Ortiz and the Lucha Bros versus Hardy Family Office, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Butcher Blade, with Jack Evans and Matt Hardy. Now, this match, honestly, was a waste of time. It should have never been here either. This could have been on Dark as well, Dark Elevation, which was taped before they had, before the Arthur Ashe show on Wednesday, before Grand Slam on Wednesday. They could have easily had Santana and Ortiz and Lucha Bros take on Hardy Family Office on that show, and it still would have had Santana Ortiz and Lucha Bros at Arthur Ashe. Now, the only thing that this is doing right for me is the fact that this is going to be leading to the Lucha Bros and Santana Ortiz for the tag team titles. Had the Lucha Bros not just won the titles at All Out, this would have been the place to have that tag team title match. That would have been the match you would have had on Rampage, the marquee match on Rampage, if it would have happened, because you still would have had Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega on Wednesday night, and there would have been no reason to have that match of the year candidate be one up, like trying to follow that match of the year candidate with what could be another match of the year candidate with Santana Ortiz with Lucha Bros. If you have not watched the Lucha Bros and Proud and Powerful wrestle each other at all, I suggest you go back and watch and prepare yourself, because that's the next feud for the tag team titles. I know the Young Bucks are number 1 ranked right now. I don't know why they are, but this was honestly one of the coolest parts. Was Ortiz and Lucha, and you had Phoenix and Ortiz and Santana on because all 4 members of the Hardy Family Office were down on the floor. You had Santana and Ray Phoenix in the corners. You had Ortiz and Penta doing the Zero Miedo, running against the ropes, doing the tope while they did dives off the top rope. That was fucking awesome. Somewhere during the commercial break, Jack Evans got taken out because he was there. And Orange Cassidy, I guess Matt Hardy was trying to cut somebody's hair during commercial or something. I must have missed that. And Jack Evans got taken out, so he got taken to the back. So, of course, the babyface was going to, the face is going to win this match. Blade avoids Phoenix and hits a pump kick and then launches off the corner for a clothesline. Santana back in the ring, but Blade hits a knee lift to send Santana down. Quinn lands on his feet off shooting star press, but Penta takes him down. Lucha Boys hit the stomp, Fear Factor combo, and Santana Ortiz hit the power bomb with the street sweeper finisher for the 1, 2, 3. And the 2 teams that will be vying for those tag team titles very, very soon, hopefully, win this match. It wasn't anything special. Honestly, it just felt like it was a way to get Santana and Ortiz on the card, because, again, the Lucha Bros just won the tag team titles, and you're not going to take those titles off of them mere weeks after winning them. They could lose them at Full Gear. I mean, like the FTR, who just won the titles at All Out last year, which would be a very interesting thing. It's like, it would be interesting because that'd be 2 years in a row you had the tag team champions win the title. Somebody won the titles at All Out and they just hold them just to Full Gear, and that would be like a storyline for years later or something. But Tony Schiavone's backstage with Hardy Family Office members Matt Hardy and Jack Evans. Hardy says it's a disappointing result, but the night isn't over for the HFO because Penelope Ford, has Anna Jay next. Challenges Cassidy to a hair versus hair match. He says it will be Cassidy versus, and Jack Evans is standing there and he points to Matt, thinking it's going to be Matt versus Cassidy. But Hardy says it's going to be Cassidy versus Evans. Evans is not happy about this. Hardy says, you better win, Jack. You better win. So, Orange Cassidy's not losing, obviously. That's going to happen next Friday, actually. Next Friday on Rampage, somebody's getting their hair cut. Maybe this will take Jack Evans. He'll get frustrating. He'll leave the Hardy Family Office and do his own thing. Who knows? Walk out to do cue cards. This is really weird. I was like, I'm looking at this like, this is really weird. We just came back from commercial. That's something you usually do for a picture-in-picture spot. They don't even get 2 seconds into it before Miro comes from behind, takes out Fuego and Sammy, and Stark slaps on commentary. They've tried fighting back, but Miro is just too much. Miro picks up Fuego and just tosses him, just yeets him off the fucking stage over a table. And I'm like, police, can I, 911, can I, report a murder? Because I just saw a murder on TV where Fuego del Sol was killed by Miro again. He beats up Sammy, who tries to do something. He puts him in the game over, and then he finds the card that says next TNT champion and rips it up. Sammy Guevara, of course, we challenge him for the title on Wednesday, and honestly, that's gotta be the time. Sammy's due for a championship run or something. I can totally see Miro losing the TNT championship, but it's going to be interesting to see how it happens. And will people stop trying to predict when CJ Perry is going to be showing up in AEW? If she hasn't showed up now, she's probably not going to show up. Who really wants to see CJ in AEW? Miro is doing just fine as the unstoppable monster that he is right now. Maybe after he loses the TNT title, she might show up to get his confidence back because he loses the championship. Who knows? All I know is I'm tired of people saying, oh, CJ Perry's going to show up at All Out. Oh, she's going to show up at Grand Slam. Oh, she's going to show up this week. When she shows up, she shows up if she shows up at all. Doesn't mean she has to. Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. This match, honestly, was mostly in commercial break. And it's like they had a few minutes before the commercial, then they went to commercial break. They come back. Ford is faced John back and forth. They trade shots. Jay catches Ford with the Queen Slayer. Ford backs into the corner and escapes. The bunny gets on the apron, distracts the ref, tosses the bracket next to Ford, hits Jay in the face, knocks her out. 1, 2, 3. She picks up the win. Post-match, Ford and the bunny beat up on Jay. Tay Conti comes out, but she gets hit with. She ends up eating the brass knucks as well. HFO come down and they make a human wall between the ramp and the ring. So out comes Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. Then comes the Dark Order. Stu Grayson leads the way there. They go out there. They chase them away. Looks like everything's going to be back to normal. They're all going to be... Nope. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson leave everyone else behind. Now, people are predicting next week on Wednesday night, which is in Rochester. And we all know who is from Rochester, but Brody Lee. That was his hometown. That was where Blood and Guts was supposed to happen last year. That was where he was supposed to make his debut as the Exalted One in front of a packed, wherever the show is going to be at, in I think it's the Prudential Center. But yeah, it's sad that he never really got to perform in front of a live AEW crowd, a full crowd, before his passing. It absolutely sucks. I'm hoping that because it is next week in his hometown, I'm really, really hoping they do something for Brody Lee. Like, they do some kind of something. Because it is his hometown. He never got to come back to his hometown and perform in front of his hometown. I'm just hoping that they do something. Now, a lot of people predicting that this is where the former Bray Wyatt is going to make his debut. Now, the only way that's possible is if WWE was so generously kind to waive his 90-day no-compete clause. Because if they didn't waive his 90-day no-compete clause, then Wyndham's not showing up anywhere till October, middle of October. So we'll have to see what happens, but they haven't, the only thing they're quarter related that's been made official is, if we have it here, do they have, please somebody have the list. They don't. Okay, I have to get this list. Hold on 1 second. So, next week's show is going to be very, very fun. It's going to be a fun one. As we know, TNT Championship's on the line. As well, they're going to be... That's because it's here.
Speaking of Queens, the Queen Slayer!
Going on next Wednesday. That's going to be a hell of a match. That's your main event. Matt Sydal and Dante Martin versus Cody and Lee Johnson. Penelope Ford in the Bunny versus Tay Conti and Anna Jay. Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole. That should open the show. Plain and simple. Simple. And of course, Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans with Matt Hardy, hair versus hair. I'm sorry, but Matt Hardy, I'm sorry. Adam Cole Jungle Boy is going to open the show next week. That is your match that you want to get almost no commercial breaks for, if any at all. That's going to be a hell of a match. I cannot wait. That could be a pay-per-view match, honestly. If Full Gear was coming up next month, you would hold off Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy till the pay-per-view. So next week we're getting a pay-per-view-esque match again on Wednesday night. 2 of them really with Sammy and Miro. Now, the story behind why Lee Johnson and Cody Rhodes is happening on Wednesday night is simple. Arn Anderson came up on Busted Open yesterday and was like, the reason Cody got booed is because he's been to Hollywood lately. And tried to compare his Hollywood commitments to John Cena and The Rock. Yeah, because when John Cena or The Rock come back to WWE, they're not getting booed, they're getting cheered. You want to know why? Because WWE is so piss poor and terrible that any sign of the past years, the nostalgia acts help give people something to be happy about. Cody's not that. Cody coming back after weeks off, nobody wants to see him. Nobody liked him in New York, and I'm hoping the boos get louder and louder. This guy goes on an interview and is like, "I'll retire before I turn full heel." Well, you better turn full heel, or the fans are gonna keep rejecting you. Nobody likes you, Cody. Nobody likes the fact that you don't put enough people over. Was there a reason to have Anthony Ogogo go into that match at Double or Nothing and lose to Cody? No, there wasn't. I'm surprised Malachi Black got his second win against Cody. I mean, the only one that is excused is the fact that he beat Brody Lee in Brody Lee's final match because hindsight being 2020, but still. Yeah, no. I don't want to see Cody beating Malachi Black. I don't want to see Cody winning. Cody should be losing for a good portion of his career, putting other guys over. I mean, the whole factory was made to oppose Cody, and the factory is more Dungeon of Doom than anything else. It's a waste of our time. Moving on, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley took on Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki. Minoru Suzuki got his entire entrance. And before Eddie and Jon could even get into the ring or get to the ring, Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer were out there beating the shit out of them. We had ourselves a big, crazy brawl here. There were kendo sticks, which of course Lance Archer brought to the ring. There was a time where Lance Archer found 4 guys all wearing gray AEW shirts with black logos, and just starts beating the shit out of them, throws them all into one area, goes and grabs Jon Moxley, picks it and chokeslams him into the 4 men waiting below. This guy's insane. Now, before we went to the last commercial break, they had Lance Archer found a belt and starts whipping up on Jon Moxley and then starts choking him. We go to commercial break, we come back, and Jon Moxley's hands are tied behind his back. They neutralize Eddie Kingston, so it's a 2-on-1 beatdown, pretty much, for a few minutes. Then we get some music playing, and it's Homicide. Homicide comes in from behind and uses the chair to take both Suzuki Goon down. Has some scissors on him, cuts his hands free from Moxley. Suzuki with the boot sends Homicide to the outside. He goes for the God style power driver. Moxley is still pretending like he's tied up, which of course is the worst style driver ever because it's so easy to tell that he's not tied up. Suzuki goes for the God style power driver, hits the DDT instead, which Moxley gets out of it. Moxley saves Eddie Kingston from a chokeslam and hits a paradigm shift Death Rider on Lance Archer. And they hits the kendo stick, and then this was just cruel and unusual punishment. Eddie Kingston gets a trash can and puts it on Lance Archer's head. Gets a kendo stick, and I don't know how many times, but there was at least 30 times he whacked that thing with as much force as he could while he's under there. Now, people are like, oh, that doesn't hurt that much. I'm sure because, as you can tell, he's not actually hitting where the head's at. He's hitting off to the side. But you really think that's not going to hurt your goddamn ears? That's a form of metal being beaten and crushed and smacked. That's just like ringing in your ears. It doesn't sound good at all. 1, 2, 3, that's the win. After the match, Suzuki and Mox are still fighting, but Mox beats him down, sends him into the stairs. That doesn't feel like that's up at all. Which, if you're looking forward to the next appearance of this version of Suzuki-gun, they will be on a New Japan show going up, which actually, there was advertisements during this match for the next New Japan shows. New Japan Strong and the Summer Attack, or whatever the name of the show is for the New Japan Strong portion of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's the first time I've actually seen advertisements for New Japan Pro Wrestling splashed on this show, outside of, I think, Moxley versus Kenta, back when Moxley, when like the Forbidden Door actually opened up past Impact Wrestling. Mox and Homicide hug Eddie in the corner as they closed out the 2-hour special Rampage. And that was Rampage. Heck of a show. It did feel like there was something was missing, but in the end, hell of a show. So Eddie Kingston had a post-match speech, and let's see if we can get this to work. Which loves listening to Eddie's go-home show speech because that's what he's good at.
My mentor, my man, my hero, the 187. Yeah! John Moxley! Mom, I know you're here. Thank you for putting up with me. I love you, Mom. I love you. Guess what, though? I'm gonna end it real nice. I don't give a fuck about the time. I'm gonna end it real nice. Before certain people got here, we sold this mother out. Hold on. And we put our flag down in New York. Ain't dirt. But with those people that just joined us, we retook our flag and put it in cement! New York is now AEW's town! And if you don't like it...
Only Eddie Kingston could get that kind of hype. Only Eddie Kingston. But yeah, AEW, that's definitely a shot at Roman, because Roman in Madison Square Garden was like, WWE runs this town, and Roman Reigns runs WWE. And yeah, did you see that Arthur Ashe was 20,000 strong, while the measly Madison Square Garden doesn't even come close to packing 20,000 into the building? I'm sure, like I said on Wednesday and on social media, somewhere in Titan Tower, Vince McMahon is having a conniption, seeing his backyard being trampled on by the new up-and-coming company not once, but twice in 1 week. And they'll be back. They'll be in Rochester next week, and then they'll be back in the New York area when they're at the new UBS Arena 10 days after WWE has an event there, and they're outpacing WWE in that ticket sales, and that's kind of sad. The fact that WWE, which you know how they say, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Well, that's true for sure. And AEW is making it in New York, and WWE just can't handle the fact that it's not going to be able to handle the fact that New York is no longer a WWE town, and it's not going to ever be a WWE town again. And simple. So, yeah. SmackDown wasn't worth the damn outside of the last 10 minutes. Becky Lynch comes out, and this heel turn is a... Okay, so I fell off of professional wrestling for about 2 years after WCW went under. Yes, I was a WCW guy. I was young. I didn't really have a choice. It was whatever Dad was watching, I was watching, because I didn't have the whole controls. I couldn't pick what I wanted to watch because I didn't know anything else. But yeah, hold on. Yeah, I went back on when the WWE Network came out in 2014. They had Raw and SmackDowns I could watch. Very few, and it got more as they went. But I went out there and watched. Wow. But yeah, I watched every episode of Raw from 1993 up until the final Raw of 2003, where Shawn Michaels took on Triple H, and that match where they had the draw. I watched every SmackDown from 1999 till 2004. Well, I started watching it after that. And everyone knows The Undertaker, American Badass, and then he turned heel by attacking JR. And during the Big Evil era of the American Badass, when he was a heel, he finally cut his hair, he was all the short hair Undertaker and everything. When he was still supposed to be a heel before he finally had that babyface turn, Undertaker would come out to massive cheers. Nobody wanted to boo The Undertaker. It was only after he opened his mouth and started talking shit, people started to boo him. Why do I bring this up? Quite simple. This is how Becky Lynch looks right now. She comes out to massive cheers. Massive cheers. And here she is getting, and then not getting, like, it's like, I don't understand how WWE thinks that this woman is a heel. She's supposed to be a heel. This is not working for her. She is not a heel. She is a babyface. Nobody wants to boo her. There were people there, like, What Culture went to a house show on Wednesday. Not Wednesday, but Monday, that they had in London. She came out. She was on that show. It was a SmackDown show with a little bit of Monday Night Raw, because there were people, because it was Raw. It was on Monday, and Raw had their talent where they were at. And apparently, she came out to massive babyface reaction. Even during the match, everybody wanted her. Everyone cheered for her. And even when she won, everybody was happy the fact that Becky Lynch won. It just feels like I just get that vibe of the American Badass Big Evil era of Undertaker, where this guy was trying to be a heel, would do heel things, would say heel things, but would always come out to a big baby face reaction. This just feels like they're forcing a heel turn down our throats, and it's not working. I do not fucking care. I do not care if she thinks or they think that this is the right move, and that, oh, the heel turn works so well for Roman Reigns, she wants to try it with to try and like get a same heel run that Roman Reigns is getting. It's not gonna fucking work. It's not going to work. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, yeah. She comes out. They talk about what happened last week with the celebration of Bianca coming back. I don't understand why they did a homecoming. We go to people's hometowns all the fucking time. We don't do homecoming with hometown and homecoming celebrations for talent when they come back to their home. I don't understand why they did that last week. So Becky even brought this up. She's like, she says she's ready to party in the city, brothers in love. She wonders why Knoxville had a celebration for Belair last week, guessing it's because she got out of there and made something out of it, made something out of her life. She touts her recent success and how she had a baby and returned to win the title in record time. Says no one threw a party for her and she does like cake, but that's okay. Says she came out to congratulate Belair last week, but unprovoked, Belair tried to assert her dominance and not let go of her hand when they did the shake. Becky goes on about how she had no choice but to do what she did. Some fans boo, some fans are on her side. Becky didn't want to embarrass Belair in front of her parents, her friends, or her hometown. Becky goes on about her Extreme Rules match, and then how Belair goaded her into it until the out comes Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair comes out, stands in the ring. And you want to know what the fans were chanting? It wasn't Bianca. It was Becky. Standing in the ring, these two women are there, and I hear, Becky, 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 Becky. Not a dueling chants, just Becky, Becky. Like, how is this woman a fucking heel? It's not working. She's not a believable heel. Just, no. And of course, I like the jacket that Bianca Belair was wearing because it was a custom jacket. It had Raw, SmackDown, NXT. It had all the pay-per-views and takeovers she was ever on the back of it. Definitely really cool. It had Sasha and Bayley on the side of her, on the other side, on her arm on the other side. I don't know why, because I guess it's the two people she defended the title against. That's basically all she did. She talked about how she won the Royal Rumble, won the main event of WrestleMania, and also won an SB, which who gives a shit about SBs? They're popularity awards. Honestly, the SBs are popularity awards and a way to just stroke your own ego. Just no. So she said, Becky said she taught the world how to be great, so that's why you were good. And Belair better put some respect on her name. They face off. Belair declares she'll be the new champion. Extreme Rules. Belair offers her hand a shake, but Becky smacks it away. Smacks her in the face. Becky talks trash as Belair sees. She attacks her. They brawl. KOD for fans to pop, and that was that. Again, this is just the worst heel turn attempt in a while. Remember what happened in 2018? They tried this shit, it didn't work. Why are they trying it now? Okay, so the rest of the show, again, doesn't matter. Nakamura took on Apollo Crews. Nakamura won. Not much about it. Cole shows us a bloodline actions from this past Monday, which Montez Ford is in the back being asked about if he's scared of these guys. He says no and calls them bloodline bitches. We go to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wants a match with him because he doesn't want anyone disrespecting anybody in his family. That match happens in the main event. So we get Seth Rollins sent Edge out and everything that happened last week. And then we go backstage, Seth Rollins promo again, talking about how he felt sorry for Edge and that he's sick to his stomach that he feels sorry for someone like Edge, and he needs this to end. So he's challenging Edge to get his ass to the show next week. And if he doesn't, I will find where he is, beat those words out of him in front of his wife and kids. And he laughs, and he says, "Choice is yours edge. You will make the right one." Liv Morgan versus Elena Vega. You know, Liv Morgan, who has a match on the pay-per-view this coming tomorrow night, which is her only second ever singles match on pay-per-view ever. I'm sure this will be bounced to the pre-show. So they actually had Zelina Vega beat Liv Morgan with a destroyer, and wow, Zelina Vega has been back since Money in the Bank. This is her first win since she's come back. Wow. Back from break, Range's performance was confirmed for a non-title match. We also see what we ring for. Happy talk. Moving on. I don't care. Owens comes out. He tries to attack Happy Corbin. And Rick Moss comes back, beats the hell out of him. So he is aligned with Corbin now. They beat the hell out of him, and that is that. Kayla Braxton's backstage with Montez Ford. And then we have the women's tag team champion, Nikki Trash, because she's tag team champion. She can show up on both brands now, taking on Natalya. And hey, look, a champion actually wins a match. Reverses a pinfall, but wins a match. She stands tall. Rhea joins her in the ring with the straps. The music hits. Out comes Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox, who should have had a title match before these two. Which, again, if these two have a championship contenders match next week against the tag team champions, why? They've already had 2 championship contenders matches and won them both. So why is Nox and Blackheart not getting a match? Why isn't that match added to the pay-per-view this coming Sunday? We see how Sami Zayn defeated Dominic last week and his father watching ringside. Ray and Dominic are backstage. Ray is trying to give Dominic advice, but Dominic says Ray is suffocating him. Says Ray won't give him a chance and keeps nitpicking. Dom says we would have won the last 2 matches if Ray wasn't at ringside, and Ray walks off and says he's going to give Dom his space since Dom isn't thinking straight. Dom calls his dad back, but Ray leaves. Sammy walks in and Dominic is startled, but Sammy tells him to relax. He's here to give him some advice. He gives Dom some praise and says if he were Dom, he would start listening to Ray a little less and listening to his instincts more. Sammy says that's it and walks off. The clear breakup is coming. Honestly, I thought this was going to happen around WrestleMania, but yeah, you know how that went. Could have happened at SummerSlam, but no. I'm just hoping, can they stretch this out to a bigger pay-per-view? Probably not. Out comes Naomi. We see how she stood up to Sonya Deville. Back from break, and she has a mic. She says she's coming back to SmackDown to compete, but Deville has refused to put her in a match. Fans boo and agree. She says she's been fined, disrespected, insulted, and ignored, but she's not playing games anymore. She wants a match, and she wants it tonight. Naomi says, which one of the ladies in the back wants to come feel the glow? Deville comes out with a mic and says Naomi needs to stop because this is not happening tonight. She says she makes the matches, not Naomi. Naomi says, how about you do this then? You make a match between me and you. Deville says everyone knows she would slap the glow off of Naomi, but Naomi is safe, and she's no longer a competitor. She's Naomi's boss. Naomi goes on and says, make the match, and gets the chant, make the match to happen. Deville calls for Naomi's audio to be muted. Deville taunts Naomi as the fan boos get louder. Deville calls for security to come out. She says she's just trying to help Naomi because we all know that this is it's a downhill for Naomi as soon as her elaborate entrance is over, which is truth a little bit. Deville says WWE has given Naomi chance after chance, but she keeps dropping the ball. Tells Naomi to go back and TikTok dance her way to obscurity as she does. As Deville plans the future of SmackDown, she orders security to get Naomi out of here, and they escort her to the back, and boos get louder. Now, if that's not a match that they're booking soon, then you haven't been paying attention. This I absolutely expect to be a match. This is going to be Sonya Deville's return to wrestling in the ring, and it should be good. Now, I don't understand why Naomi just doesn't go to her cousin, Roman. Well, her cousin by marriage, Roman. She's, by marriage, married to the bloodline. Go to Roman, go to Paul Heyman, go to whoever she needs to get a match, because it's not going to work any other way. And honestly, she could always pull the card that they're disrespecting her, so they're disrespecting the Onawale family by marriage, and they'll get a match somehow. Montez Ford versus Roman Reigns. This was It was a good match. Before that, Becky is backstage seething. She goes on and says she will make Belair suffer extreme rules. She's not going to beat Belair. She's going to break her. We go back to the ring, and here comes the champ. So they have themselves a hell of a match. Reigns drops Ford with the big hand and goes to the floor. Ford sends Reigns shoulder first into the ring post. Ford goes back in the apron and nails a punt kick. Ford sends Reigns into the steps and brings him back in. Ford flies for the big frog splash, but Reigns gets the knees up. He applies the guillotine. Both are down on the mat, and Ford taps out. After the match, Reigns stands tall. Go to replays. Heyman's in the ring now with the mic. He says that's not enough for Ford's sins. He counsels his tribal chief to show Ford the demon, Finn Balor, and even Brock Lesnar what happens when Reigns takes it to the extreme. Heyman drops the mic as Reigns tells Heyman to bring his cousins out. He yells and out comes the Usos. They beat the hell out of Ford, put him through a table. Lights go out, they come back up. The demon is standing on the ring post above them. While the lights are red, he drops down on top of them, gets a kendo stick, unloads on Reigns and the Usos. Reigns brings Balor into the ring as he has a chair. Balor blocks it with a sling blade. The demon unloads on Reigns with a chair shot style and knocks Uso off the apron as they try to come in. He runs the ropes and leaps out of the ring, taking Reigns down on the floor. They try to retreat. He stands tall over Reigns. As Reigns music hits up, the final match, SmackDown before Extreme Rules, ends as people are cheering the demon on. Again, outside of that last few minutes, the final main event and the Naomi stuff, the show didn't fucking matter. So we have 6 matches tonight, tomorrow. 3 from Raw. I'm sorry. 2 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown. How about that? Becky Lynch over Bianca Belair, no doubt about it. Why would you attempt to give the title to Becky Lynch just to give it back to Bianca? Damian Priest over Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Charlotte 9000 is probably going to, I just have a feeling they're going to have Alexa Bliss win the title just so Charlotte can win it back a week or 2 later so she can have another title reign. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss. The Usos over the Street Profits. The Usos are not losing those tag team titles until The Rock comes in to face off against Roman Reigns. Liv Morgan over Carmella because who gives a shit. And Roman Reigns over the Demon Finn Balor in the only stipulation match, which is going to be Extreme Rules. And that is that. Hell of a night last night for professional wrestling. And WWE just continues to embarrass themselves week in and week out. But that is your Rampage review, SmackDown skim, and Extreme Rules predictions. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, follow me on Mods at the France Club, follow me on twitch.tv/the and follow me on Instagram at the France Club, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Extreme Rules or regular rules with one extreme match. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.